Check Game Podcast.
New episode of Check Game.
Another episode of Check Game Podcast.
So welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game Podcast.
All right, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Yo, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Hey, yo, welcome back to Check Game, man. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
Got an opportunity to share a game. You know, it's called Check Game. Welcome back to Check Game. Forget all these other lames. You know the name. Me and Fats is up in this joint. Happy New Year, cousin. How you feel?
Happy New Year, Root Beer. I'm great, man. How you doing out there?
You hear my bars? My bars.
I
That's
hear
something.
you. I hear you. You
I'm
sound fresh and ready for the new year.
You know what I mean? You know, I was always rocking the locks. You remember how you had that act that one time down South Street. You was dry. I don't know where you got the act, the blue act. You saw me down there. We used to be rocking to the locks. You in the white Jeep, and my pop got me. I was a Jada Kiss boy, man. So I had to drop my lyrics, man. But it's good seeing you, man.
Yeah, it's good to have us back, man. Let's get into this episode. We just wanted to get back to the Check Game Podcast and have an episode with me and Al. We talk about some things that we think is relevant between families, humans, relationships, and just the strokes of life and just how things work. Happy to have you back. And you said you wanted to talk about some of the differences and some of like the satisfaction of now versus the satisfaction of having it later, having a plan. Right. And if you want to start with this, I'll let you start. But I got some things in my head that I wanted to say about that subject. So if you want to speak about it.
No, man, it's interesting, man. I being a parent, reflecting on when I was young, a lot of times that's what I lean on through that experience and try to put myself in my kids' shoes and these young people's shoes that I get to work with sometimes from a basketball level. And it's like the urgency of having success or having a result right now. And over time, you start realizing, man, it's the process of it. And, it's one of those things where I used to take it for granted, but now it's something I really stress. And then I start even thinking back deeper. You and I come from two different walks of life. And me not being blind to the fact that the intensity in the hood and different neighborhoods, man, and the outlook on things is like you can't put everybody in the same box when it comes to that category or when it comes to that mind frame or when it comes to that situation, because sometimes it's the need of right now versus the process of a result for later, long-term satisfaction or long-term gratification. So it's like those things where I just, just reflect on. And we're going to have guests coming in this season that's going to talk about finances and going to talk about things like that it takes long-term growth and it takes a patience level and a discipline level to get ultimately where you want to be. So that's what I'll be reflecting about. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You coming up, you coming from your background, you coming from things that you've seen and that whole ideology of that process.
I mean, it's a different situation, like where I'm from it's all about, like, it's not all about, but it's a lot of right now because there is no financial backing. There is no sustainable money. There is no guaranteed job or pay. It's tough to have somebody save or hold on to something when tomorrow could be a crash of Wall Street. Like it's really that tender in those situations where a mom could get fired tomorrow or dad might not have it. It's that tender where some people say, well, can you plan for the long haul? I can't really plan for the long. I remember me and you got together and I said to you, like, this felt like cheating because it was handed to me so easy. And I thought back to where I'm from. Nobody where I'm from get it this easy. Like, this just is handed to me. And where I'm from, what I'm saying about it is that it's tough for people in that environment to prepare for next month, next week even. Like if they live in day to day and the money is scarce, it's hard for me or you to say to somebody, hey, look, you need to prepare for the future. Like I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get things together for now. And somebody like you who's had a different path in life as far as finance, even with you being a younger man, having a mom and dad, we'll talk about that too, because I like your part of that picture when we talked about that too. But having a mom and dad, having some support, having two sisters, have somebody that's helping you financially so that you wasn't in a dire need to make a dire decision for your means of eating or your means of putting a roof over your head, you was kind of put in a position where you didn't have to scratch that hard to get those things in place. That wasn't your responsibility. So um, it's tough for somebody from where I'm from to prepare so far in advance to say, "Oh, I need to, make sure next year is going to be okay," when I'm struggling today. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Right, right. No, facts. No, so like outside of, you have different approaches, you have different, I guess, ways to approach it and just take it. What's a conversation that you have with a young fat? What's a conversation that you have with a young homie from your neighborhood that you tell them now, where you be like, all right, I understand where you at, but this is what the potential is long term. Is there a conversation or is there an understanding? How sensitive and how delicate is that conversation you're having with a
It's
young
it's
fat?
it's very sensitive and very very delicate because who am I to try to help young fats navigate through it? Like young fats got to turn and jump and swim and fight at his own cause. And if young fat's success was probably because I kept my foot on the gas. I'm always trying to achieve something. I'm always trying to go get something. I'm always trying to buy something more. I want something more. And because I want a little more, it kept me motivated to go get a little more. So I'm not, I understand what you're saying. Like, how could I advance young fats? But it's hard because that's fat's plight, right? And that's for anybody else of like, well, if I go
Or
home.
or or it's not just advancing, it's just the conversation. What's the conversation like? You know what I mean?
Well, like me going back from living with you in Canada and going back to Fast Food from Diamond Street, if I'd known that you was going to be a starting pro athlete, a superstar in Canada, maybe I would change. But I can't see that far in the future, right?
Right.
But to move my life, I got to do Fats things to move Fats life. And I remember telling you, like, you said something to me one time, and I was like, Al, I'm trying to make it to tomorrow. And you said, Fats, you can't be living like that, dog. Like you living for you living to get to tomorrow. And I'm like, dog, that's really where I was at in my life at that time. Like, oh, it's going down out here. It's guns, it's people outside. I'm in the projects and like I'm getting through it, but literally waking up, just like getting through the day and making sure, all right, I went to sleep tonight. All right, I'm straight. Let's do it again tomorrow. And when I got with you, you kind of looked at that like, dog, you can't be living dated. Like you can't be living like that.
Right.
And um, that's what I'm saying. For somebody like me who fortunate enough to be with you, who could I come back to the projects and how could I advise them to say, hey, look, if you do this a little different or that a little different, things will go. I can't do that. I even try to tell my young kids in the projects that I deal with, hey, travel a little more. Like I find traveling for me to be very resourceful. I meet all kinds of people. I find people to do business with. It's been really resourceful that I changed my position on earth. I don't just stay in that one city. I'm willing to go in other cities and meet people and find resources. So I always advise kids from where I'm from to challenge themselves and travel. The thing is, where I'm from, people just stay right in the hood. Like it's just what it is. And that's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just the truth. And when I'm speaking to somebody saying, hey, look, man, why don't you travel a little bit? Motherfucker looking at me like, Fats, what the fuck is you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I'm right here doing my 1, 2, 3 thing. I'm not going nowhere. Fast, you talk all that traveling shit if you want. I'm just saying, when I come back to the hood and try to advise, I almost feel away because I don't ever want them to think I'm better than or I'm trying to sound different because I made different moves in my life. But I feel that sometimes like I'm down in someone else's flight when I say to them, it works for Fats to travel. And then look at this kid who don't travel. What am I saying about him then? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like so I've learned to keep some of my verbiage to myself when it comes to speaking or trying to advise people because it could almost come across as like I'm shining like, oh nigga, you get to do all of these things and this and that. So I'm not, I learned to keep some of my stuff to myself because it comes across away from me looking at it like, nigga, you the one got the way out. You trying to tell me I can travel, it's a hard thing to advise them
Right.
and you never want to sit above them. You know what I mean? Like I'm with
Yeah.
y'all. I made different moves in my life, but I'm still with y'all. You know what I mean?
Right. It's interesting, man, because like you said, that conversation and communication is a two-way street. It's between the receiver and the giver, right? And it's like, how do you receive what I'm giving you? And do I have the tools to give it the proper way so a person can truly receive it? And are you really trying to listen? Are you really trying to listen, or what you really trying to do? What's your goal? And I take it with everything. It's like being an athlete, and you have an athlete that one of the first things they tell an athlete is to give back, especially a black athlete. You got to give back, give back. And that type of pressure, if somebody allows that to be pressure, is not given to any other demographic, right? It's not really given to any other demographic if you become successful from a neighborhood. Like, as a black man, you got to give back. That's one of the first things. Or don't forget where you came from. Where a lot of times people want to forget where they came from if it's in a
Mhm.
bad situation. They want to be in a different situation. They don't want to stay in that same situation. So when you do go back and you do provide information, or you provide resources, or you provide time, or whatever the case may be, it's a short dosage because you don't want to be in that situation. But at the same time, those people that where you came from, they need that inspiration. They need that advice. They need that guidance. And it's just unfortunate that you can't bring everybody with you. It's not logical, right? Like, you and I connected. And again, not being from that situation, and I didn't have the responsibility to bring anybody with me. I told you, my pop used to always tell me, you ain't got to give a crippled crab a crutch.
Right,
But
right, right.
it's one of those things, you and I connected in a way where we connected. It wasn't a guilt. It wasn't pressure. It was a conversation that you and I had over time. And then I'm just saying, like, yo, I got the means, I got the resources to say, yo, man, come on. Like, let's make something happen. So I take that scenario and I take it to young kids today in the sports world. I look at all these NIL deals. I had a great conversation today with a Villanova official today about NIL and about the space of college sports. And it's just like, everybody wants something right now. The goal of the dream of going to the league and going make money, or whatever the case may, they want it right now without putting the work in, without dedicating themselves to it. And it's like that instant result, that microwave society. And by no means I'm comparing that to an everyday struggle of life and wanting to make it out. But it's very interesting how I look at it as a adult 51-year-old man, like how everything, it takes time. Even reading a quote by Warren Buffett not too long ago about investing. And they were asking him why people don't follow his investment strategies, like how he works the stocks, how he works his investments. And he said, because everybody wants to get rich right away. And wealth and riches, they don't come, they come, it's a slow grind. You can't get rich right away. That process is slow and it takes time. And it's one of those things where, like, I always think about it, man. And it helps me a lot to be grounded when things don't go my way right away.
I think the microwave society, like, if you ask me from the hood perspective, that's how we are. We want it right now. Like, like it's just that's it. Like, I mean, like, kids, we see it so often where if you take sports and entertainment, the young black can come across it really, really quick. Like, really quick. 18, 19-year-old rappers, millions of dollars, 18 or 19-year-old basketball players, like, so it's there in our face that there is microwave success there, especially through rap, especially through basketball. Like, some of these young kids, or take it now, NIL, like you said, an 18-year-old kid in college, he got $7 million. You know what I'm saying? So that we see that. So of course we want to achieve that. Hard work, I think that's just for a hard worker. I don't call it hard work no more. I just call it work. You know what I
Right.
mean? If you're going to work, just work. You know what I mean? Like, it's just work.
And
It
it
ain't
should be
hard.
hard.
Yeah. It's just work. And I like that in the
It's
street
like,
sense.
my fault, fat. It's like motherfucker saying, yo, that's a good friend of mine. Nah, man. If once I say you're a friend, that's a friend. It ain't no bad friend, ain't no good friend. A friend is a friend. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
right.
like, and I get people like putting words on it, but to me, dog, if you're a friend, it's the good and the bad, but you're a friend.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
like you said, work ain't supposed to be easy. It ain't supposed to be easy. Everything you do, you want to achieve and get something from it. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take emotional drive. It's going to take the physical aspect of it. It's going to take I was telling my son today, he ain't turn the lights off. Oh man, you got to turn these lights off, man. Stop leaving the room, leaving these lights on. So I was like, yo, man, you want when you get older, man, you want to have some dough? Well, what's dough? What's dough? You
Mhm.
want some money? You want to have a lot of money? He said, yeah. I said, yeah, dough. Discipline over everything. That's how you get to the dough. You gotta have discipline, man. So it's like one of those things where we just constantly, what I mean, I just threw that little antidote in there. There you go. But
No, no, that's cool. But what I was about to say to you when you say microwave success, it's also where I'm from in the hood, where it's day by day, day after day success, where hustling and repeating and repeating and repeating and do it again. So that's a part of it too. But um, I'm with both sides of it. I'm all for a long term hustle, which is a long term investment. You know what I mean? If I got to sit down and really make this thing start from scratch, I'm all about that. But us being from the hood and being so involved in sports and entertainment, we are able to see success stories this quick. We are able to see young, rich, black, 18, 17, and think of YouTube and all of these other ways of getting money. Um, it's there to see instant success. So like back to me and you in Toronto, right? Like I really felt like that was a bit too fast even for me. Like and I probably was 22, 23, but to now I'm driving a $200,000 car. Now I'm living in a five-star hotel. Now I'm eating at these five-star restaurants. That's microwave success to me. You know what I mean? Like that. So like it's there to see. You know what I'm saying? Like that has happened for people in that environment where like, damn, you just came up like that. And so that's there as long as, and also you think of like a street guy who got to take it day by day to build something. I'm with both sides of it. We are
yeah,
able to see instant success. And I'm also able to see a guy take a block and do some from zero and blow it up. So I'm with both sides of it, you know?
yeah, it's funny, man, because it's how you measure success. Because I like all of those things that you and I experience from a material standpoint. I never consider that success. I consider that just things, right? That some success has brought. You know what I mean? We had the opportunity and the fortune to get those things, but I think the long haul was out of everything, you and I truly getting to know each other. You and I truly getting to be in a place where we are today, where we can do a
Mhm.
podcast today. We can have
Mhm.
an argument. We can have good times. We can travel. We can talk business ideas. We can share things. You can introduce me to some of your people. I introduce you to some of my people. Like we have that, and with a quick interaction, or just hey man, I got this man. Here, take that. It wasn't that. It was let's live together. Let's grow together. Let's build together. So I think people will see us right now and be like, man, they still together. They don't have no clue from the age of 22 or the first time we met at grandma's funeral to 30 years later or 35 years later, right? Where all that happened. That was a lot of building. Because
Mhm.
we came from two different places. I had to
Mhm.
get through your shit. You had to get through the way I act. And again, we pissed each other off. You mad at me, I'm mad at you. We not talk, whatever the case may be, where everybody go through relationships. But that long haul, again, that's the long term. And the
Mhm.
beautiful thing is my kids know you. You know me. Everything
Mhm.
we it ain't no stones that is unturned with us. I know
Mhm.
you inside out. You know me. So I think again, and that relates to business. That relates to sports. Like you said, you might see a rapper or a young kid. Ain't nobody really seeing how his pen has been working since he was probably 5 or 6, or somebody see how a jump shot's been going in because he's been working on the thing. People put it's always interesting when you go back and see the process of where somebody started and what they've been through before they got there, before they got what we actually see. Right? Is that's always an interesting part. And they always said, like you can go out there and play in front of 20,000, but you can go out there and when there's a gym with nobody, when there's nobody watching, that whole work, and you've seen it firsthand, you've dealt it. So it's just again, I always urge that to young people, man. I thought it was an interesting topic because I see again these people, adults too, parents, coaches, handlers, agents, everybody sees a great opportunity on the back of these kids, and they think it's like that. And again, you said $7 million, you give a kid $8 million, an 18-year-old kid $8 million with no education, no understanding, no support. That shit's gonna be gone, dog. It's gonna be gone. Unfortunately, it's gonna be gone because it's hard to manage something you have no idea how to manage it. And you have an idea of what things are supposed to look like. I'm supposed to have a big house. I'm supposed to have a car. I'm supposed to have 3 or 4 girls. I'm supposed to do whatever the case may be. And all of those things that absorb all of those finances and all those things as well. So it's important to understand that how critical it is once you receive something in masses, how to make sure you manage it.
I mean, kids gonna spend that money. I mean, it's like the discipline you have with the
Oh,
amount of money you
I'm right here.
the amount of money. What I want to say is the discipline you had with the amount of money you earn is commended because you're not a show off. You don't go above our means. Could we get steak and lobster's tail some nights? We would, but we never really jumped out of the boat of our normal life. And what I'll say to you is like, for me, that wasn't my normal life. What you provided me was what that's provided or a kid with $1 million would do. Like, you made sure I had the newest car. You made sure I lived in the 5-star. Like, you made sure everything was intact. And I think that's what anybody want, a piece of life. And any moment you can get that piece, you take it. Especially when you're from where I'm from, where you trying to say like, hey, slow down, let the moment come to you. Where I'm from, man, we take the moment and we figure out the rest tomorrow. Like
Hmm.
we living for like we have fun tonight, and then we'll think about the rest of that tomorrow when we wake up. But that's kind of like where I'm from. That's my coaching. I don't think it's good or bad. It's just you get rained on so much. If the sun come out, you got to ball with your friends and spend a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to have some fun with your group. And so when you talk about we get paid and then we got to go back and help. So I wanted to mention that because I'm from there, right? Nobody never taught me to go back and help. You didn't ask me to go back and throw camps. What I realized is that I was earning money from this community. And all the money I'm earning from this community, I need to put back so everybody feel it, right? So it wasn't a threat to me. Oh, Fats, you came up, you with your NBA cousin, you need to be. No, I just knew if you from this environment, this is for anybody that's from the hood. You from the environment, and you taking from that environment or earning, and you don't make sure them kids got a summer camp or a summer trip or anything going on that includes the community, a cookout. Whoever is in charge should be paying for these things to bring community awareness. But that was what my thing was in the hood. Once I came up with you, it was like the first sight of money. I got to make sure everybody feel my little bit of success. Everybody feel this little thing that Alvin got behind me. So I made sure I put the camp on. I asked you for the resources and to bring your friends down and take care of the camp. So it wasn't, nobody told me to do that. That's just when you from where I'm from, that's the role you're supposed to play when you're doing well in the hood. Make sure everybody feel it. And I don't mean give out dollars. I mean give an experience. I took the whole trip, the whole hood to Wildwood, or the camp, or a fashion show, or a talent show, anything to make sure the whole community feel your success. I think that's due to anybody that come up, no matter if you come up in sports, entertainment, anything. If you holding tight, you should be looking out for the kids. And I feel like that inside. That's just personally how I feel, Al.
No, I mean, and that's commendable, and that's the way. To me, I'm the same. I'm a giver. I mean, even if I'm not from there, and I see young people, I see an opportunity to give, so I understand it. My point was, it's something that's supposed to be automatic that somebody else will place on you. If you are. But this person over here that has no idea where I come from, or this media person over here, or this advisor over here, and that's supposed to be the typical thing, because guess what? Everybody is not from the project. Every black athlete is not from the projects. Every black
Mm-hmm.
athlete don't have a single parent household. So some of the things the stereotype of those things is what I be addressing. Like, yo, yeah, I want to give back. I give back. I give somebody to give back so that everybody can have a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
But as I was saying, like the athletes or the entertainers who things are publicized, that's always a notion where it's like, all right, this is what it has. That's the first thing you got to do. And guess what? It ain't nothing wrong. You are supposed to give back to a degree or whatever, however you choose to do it. It don't have to be monetary. It don't have to be anything. It has to be to a point. It could be your energy. It could be your information. It could be, like you said, trips. It could be just sitting down, showing up every day. Whatever the case, your time to me is very valuable. So
Mhm.
I agree with you, and I know how you get down. I've seen your camps. I've
Right,
seen
right.
your
Mhm.
interactions. So yeah, that's never a question, and never saying like, nah, that ain't a necessity. But again, I just thought that topic was really interesting, man, because I see it again, and I see the wave, and I'm with you, dog. If I was young and I did some dumb stuff, coming from a, both parents in the household, coming from two fantastic sisters, going to a private school, being around wealthy people, and see how they interacted and see how they conducted themselves from a day to day. Right, I've seen those. I experienced those. Going to college for 4 years, taking class. I've seen all that. And then when it came down to it, when I got my first check, I did some bozo stuff when it comes to like responsibility. So I know a young kid, but it's just like always trying to give them. It's never enough information to give them. Like I said, you give a kid 700,000, you give a kid $500,000 in an NIL deal right now, right? You're at college, and this is the reality. You're at college. You don't need food. They feed you. If you're an athlete, they feed you there, right? They
Mhm.
give you the clothes if you just want to wear the sweats. You got your dorm. You got three big expenses that normally from a student would have. But if you were able to save or pocket that money and really put it in a trust or put it in some type of fund or investment portfolio, by the time you turn 30 or 35 or 40 from the age of 18, you're looking at approaching almost millions of dollars, dog. Like long term. Opposed to, you know what, let me go out and get these Gucci this or this watch here, or let me go out to go eat down Rittenhouse Square, or let me go get me an apartment off campus. Because again, it's a long term. And I get it. You're young and you wanna ball out. But when you get older, those are the things that you learn. Those are things that I learned. Like I said, when I was young, I would have did the same. I told you the story. I'm talking too much, but I told you the story. As soon as I get my senior year, my agent called me. You got a car? Nah. You want a car? Yeah, I want a car. What you want? I want an Infinity Q45. That's what I wanted. Nas had the
Mhm.
song, not 45 Infinite. 40, like I needed me an Infinity Q45.
Mhm.
Then he said, so when you graduate, where you gonna live? I was go back home. Now, mind you, if I wasn't drafted, I ain't had no money. He
Mhm.
said, you want to go? You want an apartment? Yeah, I'll take me an apartment.
Mhm.
Where would you want to live? Downtown in the city? I got you. I said, all right. So now I got an apartment downtown and a Q45 coming my way. I'm still in the dorm at Villanova. Name ain't called. I don't know where the hell I'm going. I called my pop. Dad, guess what? What? Such and such, my agent, such and such said he gonna give me a car and going get me an apartment. He tells me, what you need a car for? You got your Jeep. That's
Mhm.
our Jeep. And how you gonna pay for the apartment? I had no clue what I was doing. And he was like, you're gonna come home, you're gonna live here in this basement like you've been living, and you're gonna have this Jeep. You ain't spending no money, you don't have no money. But me not knowing I was gonna have to pay that back. That was all a front. That was an advance that I was gonna have to pay back the agency. And I still didn't have no money, dog. So I understand that. I'm gonna spend my money. I was
Mhm.
spending money that I
Mhm.
didn't have. So
Right,
it's just
right,
like
right.
if you had somebody that can give that information, a trusted source, man. And I think not looking down on nobody, man, and not feeling like hope somebody don't feel like you looking down on them because you're giving them some advice or you're giving them some gems or jewels. Hopefully that information can be transferred in a way where it's productive and not counterproductive.
Well, even me listening to you say it now versus you saying it to me back then,
Yep.
right? right? Back then, I'm like, I need a car now. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the new Range Rover. I don't want to hear about something about fast. Let's wait for 2026. I
Yeah.
need to, so that mentality is there. But me riding with you and growing with, growing up age with you, and you showing me things, it seems like that's probably an opportunity for us, or maybe you, that we probably can sit down. You probably can spend some time and open up a line for kids and position that you might can give some game to. So that might be a thing for you to educate people, because you educated me and I started out in that space where both of us did. I'm 23, 20, you 27, and we kids and we got all this money, and
Mhm.
there's no blueprint or no direction of it. There's no say, so we got through it. You taught me a lot with it, but that seems like something that could be available to give out some game on, because you could save a lot of headaches where all these kids got the same mindset, no different than me and you had, right? We wanted a Range Rover, Jacob, and this, we wanted all of this shit that didn't mean anything, to where we probably could have made even more better decisions to have us in a position in 2026. You know what I mean? So when you saying it, it doesn't sound good. It's like medicine, right? It doesn't taste good, but it's good for you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Nah.
there could be an opportunity where you might can do a segment of Check Game to sit down and maybe get some viewers to listen in on you, to describe what's it like coming across a lot of money, how to manage it, some of the first steps they should take with their money. Like, I don't know what the NBA do, but that's really important. If there was someone out there to say, hey, look, you got to lump some of this amount of money, tax is going to hit it. And if I was you, this is how I would start a portfolio, or this is how I would start going about my business with this money. And I think you got an opportunity to say it, because you ran into a lot of money and you know how to manage some money, or have some help getting through these things. So I think that might be an opportunity for you to share that with some of our viewers, and talk about a little bit of discipline and responsibility with a large sum of money.
Yeah, no, and that's the end. That's the goal. One of our guests coming up soon is my financial advisor, close friend Reggie Wilkes, and I'm gonna get him to drop some jewels and some advice and some suggestions and some simple strategies and things that he and I went through. As a young man, he was my first and only financial advisor, and it was one of those things where we became not just a financial advisor and client and things like that. We became family. When you dealing with money, the dynamic of money, man, is so secretive and it's sensitive, and it's everybody don't want to talk about it. First of all, you don't want to sound dumb when it comes to things like that. Then you don't want to expose certain things. Then you don't want to tell things that when it comes to your finances. And then you talk about family. I mean, growing up in my household, it was times when my mom and pop struggled, but they wouldn't ever talk to us about it. They wouldn't talk to us about budgeting. They wouldn't talk to us about, how to go about doing things that ultimately could have helped me at this stage of life, or earlier in life rather, right? It just wasn't a conversation at the dinner table. It wasn't, as close as we were, we didn't discuss those things. Those things were private matters. Those things were that adults had to deal with, right? And I've been in places, I used to do basketball camps in Boca Raton, and wealthy people there, and the kids would come talk to me talking about, we own a business, and they would tell me what his, like, they were part of the family business, and it was we, not my dad or not my mom, it was we. And they would kind of give you an overview of their business, and they're 10, 11 years old. So it's like one of those things. To your point, is definitely a great opportunity. I'm definitely looking into pretty much a consultant firm when it comes to this, especially with these kids with these NIL deals, because my understanding is a lot of these agents and managers are robbing them to their socks, breaking them down to their socks, man. And there's no regulation, and it's nobody's fault. It's the game. But I want to give information to these parents, and I want to give information to these young men and women that there's a way to go about it responsibly, that you don't have to commit, or you don't have to be locked in to agent fees and manager fees and all of these things. There's some things out there that you can get a lawyer, you can get an accountant, you can pay by the hour. You don't have to pay a percentage, right? And then you can, what I mean? So things like that. So we definitely get into that, man. But I'm definitely interested in just continue trying to push the information and the conversation forward.
Hey, yo, so I wanted to talk to you about that family dynamic where I talk about coming from a single parent home. And some people look at that as like a tough spot, right? I'm from the projects, and I'll tell you, it's like an adventurous park, right? It's really fun. There's some dangerous rides, but it's really fun here. You know what I'm saying? And when what some of the fun comes in where my parent don't come home, or I can stay out all night. There's no chaperone for me to stay at home at night or make sure I get in at 10 o'clock at night. Where me and you talked about it one time. You said, Fast, you don't want two parents in the house. You don't want to be in there when my mom and my dad fighting and I got to be quiet all week. So I wanted to discuss that dynamic of the difference in me and you with that responsibility where I'm a lot more free. I'm a lot more going out. I'm a lot more party. I'm a lot more free. And where when I get with you, you're so much more disciplined and the way you do things and the way you present yourself and conduct yourself. But I wanted to talk about that aspect of having two parents versus me having none. Me having one, I guess my mom will be there, right? But I could party, I could go out, I don't have to stay in the house. I could do whatever I want basically after a certain age. You was kind of relaying to me that Fats, you had it better than me, motherfucker. You don't want to be where I'm at. and I hear that because being from the projects, you can't imagine how many of my cousins cried when it's time to go home. You know, they got nice houses everywhere else, but when they're in the projects with me and their mom calling them like, "Hey, it's time to go home," "Oh, Mom, I don't want to go home." So the projects is really fun. It's a little dangerous. Projects is fun because there's no chaperone. Your mom allow you to run around. You was kind of tell me, Fats, my dad be on my ass, my mom be on my ass. So can you give me a little experience of that versus when you know where I come from and versus where you come from?
Yeah, it's all perspective, and it is like again, I had an outstanding childhood. Like I ain't, but it was strict.
Mhm.
It was discipline. It was four eyes on you at all times. Or for me, it was eight eyes. I had two sisters, but it wasn't. It wasn't. You know, you do have the piece where people say you got a two-parent household, and they automatically anoint you as supposing to be a certain way, conduct a certain way. But
Mhm.
in reality, man, we know relationships. I mean,
Mhm.
it ain't always sweet in that household. It ain't
Mhm.
always, it's arguing, it's fighting, it's back and forth, it's tension. And it's verbal. It's verbal sometimes. Sometimes it can get physical. Not in my household, but it was verbal. It was energy. It was things being said. And then as a kid, you growing up anxious. Like, is my household gonna be the next one when my dad ain't around? Or in my household when my mom leave my dad? Or and so you grow up like that and you hear that. But again, from my standpoint, I wouldn't change my childhood for nothing. But there is a reality where you have some people that stay together for the kids.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that's more harmful than it is productive. When
Mhm.
a kid grow up not seeing romance, not seeing communication, not seeing, two people coming together to make a better, you see a lot of friction. So
Mhm.
it's like, all right, do you carry that into your relationship when you get well, my dad and mom never went on dates, or my mom and I never seen my mom and dad hug. I never seen my mom and dad laugh together. I never seen my mom and dad go on vacations together. So when I'm a young man and I have my woman, I have my marriage or my relationship, do I carry that same cycle and show my kids that's how a relationship is supposed to look? Not at all. So those are the challenges when it comes to it. It's not all ideally sweet when you got a mom and dad in the house. But again, for me, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. But yeah, it was times where I didn't really see my mom and dad go on dates. I don't see. We didn't go out as a family to dinner. Maybe the last day of school, me and Beanie was just talking about it. We would go to Ponderosa the last day of school, and that's where we would go. Last day of school, Ponderosa. But our day to day was my mom worked, my dad worked. My mom would come home cook. My dad would come home late, or he would come home very late. It's times when he was an undercover police officer. Then he was working for baseball out of town. So it was times my dad wasn't even at the house a lot of times. My mom was holding it down a lot of times. So that dynamic to that point, man, is perspective. But again, man, like I always, the interesting thing, dog, is how you and I came together. And I have my friends that I grew up with, very close friends. And we would have conversations about you, and they'd be like, yo, man, he just like us. Nah, man, he not. not like us. His upbringing wasn't the same. His way of viewing life is not the same how we view life. Like, so when you approach him, make sure you approach him and understanding that ain't the same. Like, you ain't talking to me. Yeah, me and Fats hang together all the time. But when you talking to me, that's a different person. And I think that's critical and very important for everybody to realize everybody's different, no matter who you see him with and no matter where you see him. It's a different individual, man.
I'm glad you said that because there are a lot of kids who do got two parents in the house and feel exactly the same way you feel. Like, man, I wish this nigga leave. Like, why is he here? Like, that's not a comfortable environment all the time because you got two parents in your house. It's like that doesn't always say we happy at home. There's a lot of friction in there, fighting, drinking, arguing, yelling, just normal family things when the group is together for a while. So it's good for you to speak on that because you had that experience and you would look at me and be like, you had more freedom than me. Where like a kid, like you said, you could look at me like, nigga, you got it, you got it easier than me. I got to sit here and deal with both of these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's good for you to put the light on, like, yo, having two parents at home don't mean this is happy go lucky over here. That's not how it works.
yeah.
It's probably worse than your household. If your mom and dad is home, you probably, you know what I mean? This is probably worse than what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Nah,
So
for
it's
sure.
good for you to share that. It's good for you to share
Nah,
that because that's real.
it's interesting because I told you a lot of people looked at us as like the Huxtables, right? We
Mhm.
came up, me going to private school, my sisters, we all was together. Like we was together. We would go to Florida sometimes where my dad original family's from, and we would travel a little bit. But it's funny, man, because I remember, and I would tell other friends this as well when they would decide to send their kids to private school. I said when I went to private school, that's when I really felt like there was the most friction in the house. The most friction in the house because it wasn't a collaboration of me going to. My mom was against me going to Germantown Academy. My dad wanted
Mhm.
me to go to Germantown Academy. So my sisters, my younger sister Doe went to Lincoln, or Vinny went to Dobbins. So it's like, why is he going here, and why are they going to the private to public school? What's the difference? Like, why is he afforded this opportunity? And that was something that it was unspoken, and it was like our family didn't really. But I thought about that a lot, and my dad used to, don't embarrass me, don't embarrass me. Always say that to me because he's making a decision. He's jumping out the ledge, and I'm not off the ledge, and I'm not really holding my end of this bargain up
Mhm.
academically, socially, all those things. So that was a lot of tension in the household, and then financially, like everybody thought I was there on a scholarship, and I wasn't. My dad was paying tuition, and he also was paying tuition for my sister at the same time. So there was a lot of hard times when it came to that, and there was a lot of friction. And my mom
Mhm.
and dad would butt heads a lot when I was at Germantown Academy. It was a lot. But from the outside, everybody, oh, he went to Germantown Academy, then he went to Villanova, then he went to the. They thought that decision for Germantown Academy helped me go to the NBA, which everything in between, dog, it was a struggle. It was a struggle for every. Beanie, she had to adjust her schedule because somebody had to come pick me up. Doe had to adjust her schedule because somebody had to take care of what Vinny was supposed to take care of. So everybody had to compromise. And
Mhm.
everybody at that time, man, I know everybody felt some type of I don't know what everybody felt because we never talked about it, but it had to be some resentment there, right? Because
Mhm.
everybody had to compromise for one person,
Mhm.
me, right?
Mhm.
So it's one of those things again, a family of a household with everybody there, family dynamics. Like I said, everybody thought we was the Huxtable, but there was a lot of struggle internally in that house that everybody worked through. But the one thing I will say, man, I will say with all that, we had unconditional love in that house. And
Mhm.
everybody, we was brought up to take care of everybody. And that was the biggest thing. So no matter what happened, we was going to get through it no matter what. Right. And I
Mhm.
learned it mostly when both my parents passed away and how we all came together and made sure my sisters, they was taking care of my parents. I wasn't around as close as we were, but they was taking care of my parents. And then there would be times when you need nurses there 24/7. That had to be handled. Then my mom and dad would pretty much kick the nurses out. And anybody who have ailing parents, they know parents don't want nobody in that house. They don't want nobody taking care of them. That's the meanest I seen my mom and dad ever, dog. When nurses and people was trying to come take care of them. So Vinny and Doe had the brunt of that responsibility. So our family was built on love, but there was a lot of hard times there, and no project. It was no project struggle, no project. I'm not even trying to compare the two, but we had our challenges as well for living up in Mount Airy with a double parent household.
No, I'm glad we was able to share that for this episode of Check Game, man. It's good for us to touch on some real topics and just give an open conversation about them topics and let our viewers hear our point of view, and also just to reconsider some thoughts on the way they may see things or the way things may be going for them. So it's good for us to share a little bit of game and spend some time on the podcast to go over this and look forward to what we got going on in the next couple of weeks. So
you know what I'm gonna do, Fats? I'm gonna get Vinny and Doe on this jump. Vinny and Doe gonna come and they're gonna give us some real spill. They're gonna give us some real spill on our extended family, the Myers side and all that. They're gonna give us some real spill. But I would love to get their opinion and their take on what they really felt. Like, I mean, I know both of them to a T, but I also some things wasn't disclosed, I'm sure. And I would love to hear their opinions and their thoughts and their feelings of coming up when we were young, man. I would love to have them on, man. So that's going to be a guest that we got to get on, man. We're going to have a conversation with our cousin.
Ain't no doubt about that. I would love to do that, man. All right, so here we go. So I'm just saying, Will Smith, he from West Philly. I'm from North Philly, right? He went with Uncle Phil to California. I went with cousin Alvin to Canada. That was his uncle. That was my cousin. You understand what I'm saying? So Bel Air, they wasn't living like I was living when I got with my cousin Al versus Uncle Phil. That's all I'm trying to say. When we got to Toronto, it was a crazy life. And I wasn't under my uncle. I was with my cousin, so I had a lot of freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
So I got a question. They chased you out of North?
You say what?
I say they chased you out of North?
You say out of Canada? Out of Canada?
Hey,
you tell me Drake chased me out of Canada?
You got to tell that story when the cops pulled us over and you had your do-rag and everything. I think we told that story, though, but
we did.
Is that an American speedometer or Canadian speedometer? That's the end of season 2. What's this, episode 4?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, it's another opportunity for me to build with my cousin, talk to my cousin, grow with my cousin, man. Good seeing you again. Happy New Year. I know it's a little late in the year, but Happy New Year, man. Peace out to you, cousin.
Same to you, man. Thanks for watching us at Check Game. Please hit the like, subscribe, or comment button. We appreciate any support. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, new money. Just want to get a shout out from Check Game to everybody out there that's showing love. Peace.